What's going on, guys? It's Tony from Lone Wolf Paintball. Today we are simply talking paintball gun safety.
And why? Because it's the best source for paintball guns, markers, and everything paintball related.
That, of course, is the best, and the best is lonewolfpaintball.com.
Duh.
All right, so obviously you can get all willy-nilly out there. You guys got to stay safe and be good. Be good to yourselves, be good to your equipment. I don't care if you're rocking a tournament-style gun that looks like this, or something that is very, very realistic, like a little TMC M4 style here that looks absolutely realistic and has no orange tip, so be safe with that. And lastly, we're over here something like a Glock 17 replica, which clearly looks, there's no way to differentiate this from a true firearm versus a paintball marker. So first off, guys, safety and transportation, I would recommend no matter what, any marker that you guys have, it's always going to be degassed and there's no paint. Check the breech, check your barrel, check the hopper. There's going to be no paint, and obviously make sure the marker is degassed and put away safely in a case like this, or in your gear bag, or even with this Glock 17 rep in a case like this, put away safely. So you guys aren't going to get yourself into any trouble out there. Yeah, I mean, for storage and transportation, Mark, what would you say would be next?
And I wouldn't take it out unless I'm ready to fire it at a range or safely in my backyard. Because if somebody sees you walking down the street with something like that, or you think you're going to be a cool guy with that Glock replica in your pants, you're going to get in trouble. Somebody's going to see it. They're going to think it's a real gun, and there's going to be some issues.
Well, that's why I brought this one out too, Mark. At least this one, you can see it's got the orange tip on there.
Yeah, leave those tips on, guys. I know it doesn't look cool without it, but...
Well, that one just happens to be an airsoft marker, but I just want to show the difference between this one is an actual, this one fires paintballs, and then you've got your airsoft. So clearly you can see airsoft one does have the orange tip, which is definitely going to help differentiate, hey, that's not a real firearm, but a lot of people either break that tip off or spray paint it black to look like the actual Glock replica. So never really a good idea, because you're just going to cause yourself more trouble, and hopefully not anything worse than that. Wouldn't be a good idea to keep something like this on the front seat of your car. Yes, it needs to be locked up in a case, preferably in the trunk. So yeah, if you know, an officer or anybody that walked up on you and saw this would say, wow, that's definitely a real firearm. So you guys, just be safe out there. A lot of stuff, you know, happens and has been happening. So just PSA right now, paintball gun safety, keep the stuff unloaded, degassed, preferably in your trunk. And if you're not using it, just keep it at home. I know a lot of guys, I don't know when I'm going to play next. I'm just going to keep my gear in my car ready to go, but never really a good idea, guys, to be completely honest.
Can I get you to talk about, I've noticed two things while you were handling all the markers, actually. One is trigger control, and two, where you're pointing the barrel.
100% always. I mean, when you're operating a firearm, you've got to have a strong trigger stance here. Gun on the guard, definitely never ever on the trigger, and always keep these things pointed down. You never know if there's accidentally a paintball left in there. If it's accidentally still has one shot left, some of these markers will hold a shot after you degas that. So always check that and make sure. So obviously, until you're ready to actually point at a target and shoot, always make sure that trigger finger control is away from the actual trigger and on the outside guard. And then never, 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 never always think that no matter what marker you guys have, that it's, oh no, I checked, it's unloaded. Always take a double check and make sure whatever you're operating is truly unloaded, degassed, and just fully taken apart. Because there's a lot of kids out there that, you know, get their first paintball marker and accidents happen. You know, you've got, whether you're married or you have kids or little, you know, sisters or brothers, stuff like that. If they stumble upon any one of your markers, and if it has paint and it's gassed up, then accidents happen. So always make sure you're degassed, unloaded, and stuff is stored in a case. Just put it away, guys, to prevent any of the accidents out there.
Show the trigger control with this traditional speedball marker in that too, just so they can see it, that it's not...
Oh, something unique. Like, yeah, because, and obviously these triggers here are very, very finicky. Got a micro switch with electronics. So until you're ready to actually engage, I would literally just, you know, hold the bottom of the grip and keep your finger absolutely off that trigger, maybe on the outside of the trigger guard, or as most, if you can just carry it like that, stay away from the trigger as much as possible.
We've all seen even guys at the field walking 100%. Around and they accident because they keep their finger, oh, I'm not going to accidentally pull it. And of course they do.
Yeah, naturally. And that's going to go into one of our next topics, which would be kind of the field setup.
Yeah, so you locked your gun up, everything's safe in your trunk. You just pulled up to the field. Now what are you going to do?
So you're pulling all your stuff out your gear bag. You got your marker here, and you know you
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Don't be screwing that in without a barrel cover on, sir. Are you nuts?
Oh, was that the rule?
Yeah, the rules, sir.
Them's the rules. So we have our barrel cover here.
Yeah.
So you guys are always going to need to put on.
I don't. Whew.
I know, we dodged a bullet, huh?
Oh, man.
Because this is what a lot of you guys are out there doing right now. You're getting all willy-nilly. You're not making sure your proper safety cover is on the end of your marker. So you guys show up to the field, you're getting ready, getting geeked up to win your points for the day, but you forgot your barrel cover. This is the most important device out there at the field. It's going to keep you safe, going to keep everyone around you safe. So you're doing that, you're loading up. Make sure your barrel cover's on there. You got guys out there in the parking lot, dry firing. Don't be dry firing in the parking lot. You can go to the chrono and make sure your gun's working, because then guess what? When you're doing that, little Timmy, who's 10 years old, brand new to the paintball field, thinks he's allowed to do that. And then the little Bobby down the road, who's 13, thinks he can do that. And you're just going to start the chain reaction of you guys out there in the parking lot behind your cars, dry firing. Don't do that.
But little Billy didn't dry fire. He already put his hopper on, had paint in it, and he thought he just got to shoot in the parking lot.
And now he's ripping up the town. He's ripping up the town, Mark.
And it's all your fault. Set a good example.
Set a good example. Please don't dry fire in the field's parking lot. And always make sure your safety device is nice and secure on there. So if you accidentally do project a paintball, you know, you're going to be safe. You're not hurting anybody. You guys are animals out there.
Barrel cover first, then assemble the rest of the marker. Only take the barrel cover off when you're on the field ready to play or in the chrono.
100%. Yeah, obviously their covers are there. You see the newer players and birthday parties and walk-ons will walk off the field without their cover on. And a lot of the vet guys out there like yourselves will say, hey man, keep that pointed down. Please put your barrel cover on. Barrel cover, extremely important for everybody's safety. Nobody's out there trying to lose an eye.
And that follows in, even with the barrel cover, don't point the end of the barrel at anybody ever, on or off, unless you're actually in an active game ready to play.
It happens all the time. Or people, well, sadly, I'm not going to do it, but they'll grab their gun. I think I broke a ball last game. You know what they do, Mark? I'm going to look down my barrel to see if the paint is still broken in there. Yeah. Terrible idea. Never look down the barrel of, I don't care if you think it's unloaded, reloaded. Never look down the barrel of a gun. Ever. And like Mark said, don't point it at anybody. Always down at the ground. You never know if there's a paintball, a real bullet in some of the other real firearms out there. So just be safe.
And even some of these guys that have like their little fun homemade barrel plugs that aren't as secure.
Yeah,
it's same thing. Just no bueno.
Yeah, they make it out of plushy animals and look how cute, but is it truly safe? We don't know, man. Just buy a barrel cover from one of the manufacturers that are legit and trusted. On to the next point, Mark. Hit me with it, baby.
So now, all right, you've been safe at the field. You've been safe in the staging area. Now it's time to go play the game. They said, hey, everybody line up. We're going to get out there. And you're standing there with all your friends, and they're splitting up the team. You're like, oh, man. But now we're out, and you're walking. Like, all right, they'll tell you normally. They'll say, okay, now it's safe to take your barrel covers off.
100%, yeah. So never, ever have your barrel cover off of your marker until it's literally time to play paintball. Look around. Is everybody, I mean, it's not your obligation to, but does everyone have their goggles on? Is everyone safe and ready to play the game of paintball that we love? Don't take your covers off until the refs say so, and just, give a double check to your left, to your right, in front of you, and make sure that everyone has their goggles on. I mean, that's part of the paintball gun safety.
That's huge. We didn't even bring a goggle.
Them's the rules, though.
Them's the rules.
Them's the rules. Got to have the goggle on there. I mean, we were talking gun safety, not goggle safety. But if we're going to be shooting paintball guns at each other, wouldn't it be a good idea to have your goggles on? I'd say so.
Well, and because if nothing else, you can't always trust that the guy next to you is going to be the safest.
100%.
So protect yourself. Because little Billy doesn't know what he's doing because nobody told him to watch this video first or instructed him properly. So when he pops you in the side of the face because you didn't have your mask on in the chrono,
No good. Always just be aware of your surroundings. Like I said, if you're a vet player out there, look out for the newer guys. Make sure, hey man, we're past the zone where your goggles should be on. Make sure your goggles are on. Oh, no, don't take your barrel cover off yet. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into, this game that we love so much, and just want to see you guys safe, because there's obviously been things in the news that, markers or paintball guns that look, sadly, not not gonna say sadly, but look like this, and people will mistake them for real firearms, and then things will escalate and not be very good for you. So just be careful out there, guys. Stay safe. And I think we have one more thing to
Well, now the
cover here.
game's over, right? You stayed safe. You played your game. You had your barrel cover on when you were supposed to. Now, when you were allowed to shoot, you kept your mask on. They said, game's over, barrel cover's on, get off the field. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. It's time to tear down. It's time
we're
to pack
packing
up.
So we're packing up, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
so what do I
first
do?
off, we're gonna make sure the marker is degassed. This one, obviously, I don't have any air in this tank. It's brand new, but I would degas my marker. I would unscrew my tank, and then, you know, safely put that away. If you guys want to bleed the air out of your tank before you're done, unless you want to go home and, you know, do some test shots, but, you know, keeping air in the tank or the marker gassed up is not good. So always make sure at least a minimum the marker is degassed. And if you want to take the extra step to degas the tank, you guys can do that. But I always turn, for me, what I do, I turn my eyes off on the actual marker once I degas it, because a lot of the guns will hold one extra shot, and I'll just turn the eyes off, point the gun at the ground, release that extra shot, and then I know the marker's fully degassed. If you even want to, you can just pull up your bolt up and out and just make sure there is no air left in there, which is a good feature. And then, you know, you can pop your hopper off. And then lastly, now that we make sure there's no paint, there's no nothing, you can take your cover off and then simply take your barrel off. So we're packing up for the day, and then my barrel and my gun's gonna go right in my nice little nifty case here. And I'm gonna probably throw that in my trunk, if not minimum in my gear bag in my back seat. Just make sure your stuff is put away correctly. So if you guys do have any trouble, you know, you guys are speeding, it's been a long hot day, you wanna get home and shower and you get pulled over, that there's no reason for, you know, anything bad to happen to you guys. So always make sure, degas your stuff. Make sure there's no paint at the end of the day. You guys will probably have a better paintball experience.
Yep. And this is also a good time to make sure you wipe off any old paint, make sure no gunk and that's left on it too, because you want it to last. And nobody wants to pull a marker out of the case next time and be like, ew, it's all gross and sticky.
Yeah, 100% clean your stuff. You guys paid a lot of money for the expensive paintball gear, so at least clean it and give it a good wipe down. I know a lot of guys will actually take it home and do a full service on it, but at least wipe it down. Don't make it all look all junky for the next time you pull it out to play. Just some quick gun safety tips here, guys. Stay safe out there. And like I said, put your stuff in a case. Make sure it's unloaded. Make sure it's degassed. All the good stuff. And obviously rocking something that's very realistic like that replica over there. Just be safe. And don't forget, shop the best, homopaintball.com.
Well, one more thing, if they're still here. If you are going to fire in your own backyard, maybe have the courtesy to let your neighbors know what you're doing before you do it, so they just don't start hearing pop, 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 and look out their window and see you looking like a complete a-hole.
I like that one.
You know, just say, like,
if
hey,
you're still here, that's a good point.
I've got paintball guns. I'm going to do some test firing in the backyard. I'm going to be safe. Just, you know, letting you know. Courtesy.
Like it.
See you.
homopaintball.com.